So today we're talking about dissolve problems with grace and ease. Doesn't that just make you go, ah?
It does. It feels like it feels like it feels like such a flow, a beautiful flow,
Yeah,
and it doesn't feel grace. Great when you say grace and ease. When you say grace and ease, you can't say it angry. Well, you
exactly.
just
You
you,
can't see it in chaos.
yeah, you can't. You just grace and ease just flows, and when the whole thought of to dissolve problems with grace and ease,
Mhm.
instantly you go, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, dear friends. Welcome, dear Deb. Here we
Hi.
are. Hi. We're here again with another deliciously motivated mindset conversation. These are such fun conversations. And today, I'm really looking forward to today's conversation because it's kind of my vibe about the finding our grace and ease. But before we do that, talking about grace and ease,
Oh no.
whoops, this does not give Deb
There's
too much
no
grace and
grace
ease.
and ease with this.
What we do, if you've listened to us before, you remember that what we do is we rate ourselves on a scale of 0 to 10. And if you haven't, then let us introduce you to a self-assessment tool of rating ourselves. So 0 to 10 scale, 10 is like off the charts, chaos, stuck. Oh my God, sitting in the corner, sucking your thumb, not sure if you know how to get through something. And
Can't
0
even find
is,
your thumb to suck.
could even be there. And 0 is like completely zen. Grace and ease definitely lives at 0. And we all move up and down that scale. But the reason it is very helpful to tune in to yourself like that, and you tune in on your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, or the PEMS, we like to call that, to just see how, what do you need to do to attend the best version of you, or to be aligned with your own experience, your own essence. So all that being said, what number, and Deb just really does not like this part because she has to think of a number, and then we let go and we just soar off into the conversation.
Yeah, I think, this is the hardest part of our podcasting.
Yeah.
Did we having to think of a number? I would have said I was a 1 before, 1.5 before, and when we started talking, but literally just as we go to hit record, I have been coughing and coughing and coughing. So there's clearly something going on.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, because of that and my intuition, it means there's a little niggle going inside my body.
Yeah.
So I'm going to label it as a 2.5.
Okay.
Because there's a little goodie sitting in there
a little goodie. Yeah.
Would be wise to dissolve.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Definitely. And and good. So listeners, this is what we're doing, is we assess ourselves here, and then we encourage you to just have a wee check-in with yourself at the halfway point in our conversation. And then at the end, we're going to check back in with you and with us to see. The intent of this, of course, is to move us closer to 0, but it's also to just be mindful, like if something came up that you think, oh, I have to pay attention to that, or I have some homework to do, or then, your number may go up. And that's actually happened, I think, to both of us after a conversation that we've kind of gone, there's more things to reflect upon. That being said, for me, I'm putting myself at a 1.5. So it was funny that you said 1.5 that you thought we were. Then, just because I too have a little bit of scratchiness in my throat, and that's kind of a little tap on my shoulder, but also because I'm quite excited for this conversation, as I mentioned. So we hope we can share. We hope, no, we will. We know we're going. We trust that we can leave you with a number of new tools and maybe even a few belly laughs too along the way. That's always good to getting into this.
That's just Deborah.
That's just Deborah. So today we're talking about dissolve problems with grace and ease. Doesn't that just make you go, ah?
It does. It feels like it feels like such a flow, a beautiful flow.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel great when you say grace and ease. When you say grace and ease, you can't say it angry.
Exactly. You can't say it in chaos.
Yeah, you can't. You just, grace and ease just flows. And when the whole thought of to dissolve problems with grace and ease, instantly you go, oh, okay, yeah. Like that's a great title for a program. Would you like to dissolve your problem with grace and ease? Because as soon as you see that, you're just like, yes. Exactly. I don't think anyone would say no to that.
Yeah.
Do you want to dissolve problems with grace and ease? No, I want to go the hard way. Give it to me. Give it to me harder than I've already had. No.
Do you know something that comes to mind? Even just if you close your eyes for a moment, if you can. Don't do this if you're driving.
Yeah, I'm just going to interrupt for 1 sec. Moira's just put her pen to her face, and that reminds me, grab your pen or biro.
Oh, yes. Pen or pencil.
And she's not the one who ever has a pen flashing around. It's usually me. So grab your pen, pencil, whatever, and get ready to take some notes because they will be valuable for you. And if you're serious about dissolving problems with grace and ease, then definitely pen to paper.
I want to write some of these down.
Yeah, now. Okay, no. Right, carry on. Now we'll close.
Now you're told. Consider yourself told here. Why I was tapping my pencil to my forehead was I was just thinking about that idea of dissolving. So you think about a problem dissolving. To me, I think of, putting like an Alka-Seltzer into water and just watching it fizz.
I think of sugar mixing with the butter. And so I go to not that I'm a baker, the sugar with the butter, and you just see it dissolve with the
just dissolve away. But there's a sense of, if you think about, well, you have to sit down and fix your problems or rationalize them or work them out. There's a lot of masculine energy in that. Mm-hmm. Whereas to me, the idea of dissolving, that's real feminine energy. That's just kind of surrendering into the flow of it's not an issue for me.
Yeah.
Right. So that just felt so nurturing there, is that if you have, and I was going to say let's face it, we all have to deal with problems from time to time. It's part of human life, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But rather than thinking that a problem is a block or a roadblock or a issue that presses pause, maybe it's something that you can kind of say, look at what I created. I've always said this, if we're in a situation, we can take ownership for it, and then but also remember that if you're in something, like if you're in a problematic situation, you do have the capacity to resolve it or dissolve it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be there, right?
I think, yes, agree. And just when you said you have the capacity to change it, shift it, dissolve it, we've been through challenges before. Every single one of us have been through challenges, and we are all here on this podcast as you can label it a survivor, a thriver, you can label it whatever you want, but you've been through challenges before. So to dissolve a problem, you've dissolved problems previously, right here. No matter how old you are, you've all dissolved a problem. A child falls down, gets back up. A baby cries and whatever. You've dissolved a problem sometime in your life. So it's a remembrance to you've been here before.
Yeah.
And I think that when oh my God, I have been here before, or maybe I haven't been to this extent, but I've still dissolved problems previously.
Yeah. So, the other thing, and I like that you brought that up, because I think that this idea of dissolving problems with grace and ease is really calling upon us to watch the dialogue around, oh my God, here we have to deal with this, and what about this, and what about this, and what about this, and listening to the worrying dialogue that can kind
Pac-Man.
The Pac-Man or the
freaking chews into your ear,
the narrator.
So would you relabel the word? See, I would relabel the word problem.
Yeah.
Because when you say, oh, I've got a problem, instantly my body goes, oh.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get at about that idea of dissolve with grace and ease, is I'm not going to allow that. And so maybe we do need to come with another word for problem.
So I mean, one of the things I use with my clients, well, there's a couple of things. I say wobble or glitch.
Right.
And, oh, you've got a wobble, or you've had a wobble, or, oh, you've got a glitch. Let's look at that glitch, because just for me, if I said problem, I go, oh God, what problem have I got to deal with today? Or
right. What
lesson did I learn? Instead of saying experience, it's just that little bit of language.
Super important to think of your verbiage. Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise you hear that word and you just go, oh. You do. Your whole shoulders go down, and you're just like, oh, what am I going to face today? Oh, we've got, the school rings you. Oh, we've got a problem with your child. Oh my God. Or, oh, we've got a little glitch with your child. Or we've got little, your child's had a little wobble. Instantly you just go, oh, it's okay. It's manageable.
Right. I've got this. But the other thing, and depending what this, I've got my fingers in the air.
Yeah.
Problem.
Quote fingers in the air.
Because a lot of times they're opportunities.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just thinking though, why I was qualifying that is I was thinking on your example about, the school calls you up about your kid. The school's not going to call up and say, hey, we've got an opportunity about
got an opportunity for you to work on with your child because they're a little shithead and they've done and they've thumped old
that's
Johnny.
Just not gonna
this happens and then there's okay.
Yeah, there's not much grace and ease in there.
Yeah. They light the fire with smiles, so they had grace and ease. They're enjoying themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing too is that what comes to mind too is that a problem or a glitch or a wobble or an opportunity, nothing is static. Nothing is permanent. Right? So it's always to remember, go back to the impermanence of everything. Everything's in a constant movement. But to your point about how your body reacts when you say problem, that's when you need to reword your own way of telling yourself what's going on, right?
In my business, I would say 99% of the time my body will tell me left, right, straight, whatever. I definitely still use my mind, but my body will go, oh, this doesn't feel right.
Right.
Put your barriers up, or, and I use my intuition so much.
Yeah, as I do. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I don't know if it's the older I've got, I'm more aware of it, because back in the day, someone would say, oh, that's your intuition. I'll be like, no, it's not. It's my mind. Don't try and tell me what it is. I know what it is. It's my mind telling me. But it is actually your body that tells you. So when you go into something, you know if it's a problem, you know if it's a glitch, or you know it's a wobble or an opportunity. But if anything feels heavy, back up, pause.
Put the brakes on.
Right there and then there's a glitch going on, or whatever. Stop, pause, reflect.
Well, this is something that I do with my clients, and I think I've done this with you before, Deb, is that find what does yes feel like in your body. Get really clear on what does yes feel like, and how you can get there is you visualize or imagine the time that you made a decision and it went went brilliantly. Everything, went as good as, if not better than what you had intended or wanted. Then scan your body. What does it feel like? And then likewise, you just shake that energy off. Make a note of what that feeling was, by the way, and then shake it off, and then do the same thing. But this time, remember a time where everything fell apart, didn't go the way it was. It completely went off the rails. Sit there and again, scan your body. What's your body feel like? And make a note of that. And then shake that off too. And so for me, I have a very clear sense of what those feel like, that the yes is always uplifting, exciting. I feel openness at my heart. It feels like there's strings on my shoulders kind of lifting them up. That's my yes. Whereas the no is a heaviness in my gut. It's like a ugh feeling, like, and it even can sometimes feel like hand pressing down on my shoulders, like this big weightiness. So why it's important to do this and just have that awareness is that anytime that happens for you, that's your intuition going yes to that, whatever the situation is, the thoughts you were having, there's your yes, and you don't question it. Same thing for your no.
It's that trusting that you said then the key is you don't question it.
That's right.
Because when you question it, you go into the hamster wheel, and that hamster wheel is ugly.
It is.
That's a nice way of putting it. It's an ugly, exhausting freaking thing, and you fall off and you do the dead end. But I know you've shared this with me before, and I don't know if this is it was a PDF you have, and it was about your body being a pendulum.
Oh, yes. Yep.
That would you consider sharing that if people would like a copy of that?
Absolutely. Yes.
So from what I know, what Moira's described is exactly what this PDF is: how to listen to your body, understand your body. I'll do it Deborah's way, and then she'll recap her way. And it's about how to understand and read your body, and it's just a short thing. And when you understand that, your decisions are made literally from the heart.
Yeah. Because
your intuition is your heart.
Yeah.
So your decisions are made from that. So it will definitely show you how to do a yes.
Yeah.
How would you describe that? I'm sure it's your body as a pendulum, or
no, you're right. It is your body as a pendulum, and the point of it being, and there's a whole bunch of steps in there but basically your body sways forward slightly for a yes and slightly back for a no. And if there is no discernible sway forward or back, it's neutral, which means you can do this or not. You can, you
can swipe left or swipe right.
Exactly. But to your point, you see, here's this thing too, and it doesn't matter if you're using oracle cards or a pendulum like a pendulum as a tool, or using your body as a pendulum. You only ask the question once. Super important. Only ask once. Because you know what happens?
I don't want an answer.
Exactly. But the thing is, and that's what happens to your own intuition or your connection to your guides or source energy or whatever is the message that's coming through. If you ask it again, it's going to tell you a different answer.
Don't they say, go ask your father? Your father says something, go ask your mother. Your mum says something different. You go ask your sister, you go ask your teacher, and you got 4 different answers. And then you're like, what do I do? You just pick the one you want. Just pick the one you want. There you go.
Pick the one you want. No, but this is super important to, like I said, if you're using a pendulum or using your body or using like an oracle card, picking an oracle card. People do that. They'll pick a card and they go, no, I didn't like that one. Don't like that message, or don't. I really wanted to do it.
You can't go, quick, put it back, no one will see it.
Oh, you just
girlfriend. It's already
you
been
just
said.
did.
Yeah, so if you'd like a copy of that, please let us know, because I know I've shared it with one of my people in my mentoring group, and they found it very valuable. They said, oh, this is so simple, so easy. I'm like, yeah, I just do it, but without realizing that I'm doing it. And I didn't know it was actually labeled something, just, Deborah, didn't know that was actually, that's what you do. That's like a legitimate thing.
That's a real thing. It is a real thing. But yes, for sure, you can message me directly or put it in the comments in our Facebook group chat, and I'm happy to to make that
Yeah,
available.
I think that's a great one. But I love, when we go dissolve problems or dissolve life with grace and ease, when we talk about dissolving it, one of the things we've said stop, pause and reflect, but one of the things is give it respect.
Yeah.
And respect your journey, respect your label of problem, but actually, and I guess that comes down to gratitude as well, but actually gratitude and respect are two different things, but actually respect it. Just go, okay, this is happening to me. And it's another way of acknowledging it. We've talked about, at the start, we talked about taking ownership. It's another way of acknowledging, actually just going, yeah, I do, this is it. This is something I'm going to address. Yeah. So respect would be a valuable one, just respect. But gratitude is if you even talk to me in a conversation, gratitude is going to come up. Absolutely. But gratitude is the thing. Gratitude for what you've done, gratitude for what you've not done, gratitude for what the situation you're in. And I said that to a gentleman yesterday. I was talking to I don't know if I call him a gentleman actually, so say that. I was talking to a male last night. I don't know if I call him a gentleman. And I said to him, have you listed all the things you're grateful for about being in the situation you're in? And he was like, what? Literally, what? I said, why don't you list the situation you're in, being grateful for the situation you're in? He goes, but I might be losing my house, or I might be, and I was like, yeah. So write the things that you're grateful for that. And he was like what? And I'm like, that it's making you assess it. It's making you not hide anymore. It's making you actually be accountable. It's making you look and do a budget. And he was like, oh, you're really good. I'm like, well, I've got them in my head because I know these are the things. And it is, be grateful for the situation you're in right here, right now, because the universe has given you something to dissolve. Right. and it trusts you that you can do it. So be grateful for that.
Absolutely. But also that feeds into that thing of, you've co-created it. And by pushing it away and stuffing it down and saying, no, I'm not going to look at that, or it's going to be a problem, I don't want to see it. Number one, that's not how to dissolve them. But number two, it's the
she puts her hoodie over her head and tries to hide herself. Oh.
but to appreciate, and I know myself that I've been in problem situations that I think I have no idea how to get out of this. But I do know that I co-created it, or it's it's only showed up because I can deal with this. And just, what's the one step? That would be a super important question to say, what's the one step? And it can just be the tiniest baby step of, just like you were just saying about that. Well, it's making you look at this, it's making you do this. And maybe it's just writing things down. Maybe that's the first step to get some clarity.
Straight away, the moment you go, let's deal with this, the moment you go, let's deal with it, the universe goes, oh, she's ready, or he's ready.
And how about this idea? And it comes through your intuition. How about this? Yeah. How about looking at it this way? And it's using gratitude and appreciation allows you to be a wee bit more of that detective person, but it also allows you to be open to seeing the solutions that are already looking for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's beautiful.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
I think another tip, when we talk about how to dissolve problems with grace and ease, one of the other tips I would say is guilt-free. And when I say guilt-free, I'm going to put guilt-free side by side with changing decisions.
Right.
Or changing directions.
Right.
Because you may go, okay, I'm going to get some help with this. I'm going to get someone to help me. And then you may not gel with that person. And you're like, but this person's going to help me. This person's going to help me. But you don't gel with that person. Then it's okay to say, I don't gel with you, or you can word it however you want, and go to another person. Absolutely. Like you can choose, this is your life. If it doesn't work for you, if it's feeling awkward, stiff, tight, tense,
obligation,
if it's not grace and ease, pivot, change direction. And I think, and do it guilt-free. You're not going to hurt somebody. So say, for example, you worked with Deborah. You worked with Deborah, and then you went, oh, Deborah, I don't actually really like you. I'm going to work with Moira. Great. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm going to high-five you for actually making a decision, and also going, I don't care what philosophy you use as long as you do something about it. And that's, and any healer, any coach or anything, well, that's my philosophy is, I don't care if you leave me to go to somebody else as long as you're doing something. If you leave me to go lie on the couch, I'm going to have a problem.
Yes,
and
totally.
not deal with it, then there's a problem. But if you're going to go to someone else, like, that's okay. And it's okay to go left or right. So, and to do it guilt-free is what I really like to say.
I love that, because, but when you release yourself from that guilt, you remember, it's super, super important. Some listeners may remember me saying this. You are the boss of you.
Oh, yeah.
When you're going to dissolve problems with grace and ease, you are being the boss. You're being the navigator of your ship that flows and goes up the hills and down the valleys type of thing. But having guilt says, I said I was going to stick with this ism or this philosophy or this person or this coach. So if that means you giving up or playing small or not accessing the fact that you are your own boss, then that's not okay.
Well, you are the boss of you just reminds me, hand on my heart.
Yes.
Hand on my heart. You are the boss of you. You make decisions for you. You do the best decisions. And in 5 minutes' time, you may regret that decision, but right now, that's the best decision you can take for whatever it is.
And it's totally okay to say, oh, I made that decision in that moment, but it actually doesn't resonate now. I can change it.
Yeah. And that, I love that pivot. So when it's awkward, it's definitely not grace and ease.
That's right.
When it's stiff and awkwardness. And so when you get that, like we've talked about the body, and when it's going, when it's change.
Yep. And you don't, you know what? You don't even have to get into it. Like if your body's saying, don't do that. You don't then need to sit and make up a story or get into a story about it. It's like,
my God. Yeah.
listen, the guidance just said, change course, pivot. Yeah. I love you've talked that. You use that quite a bit, that pivot. It's so important, and so much about it's like, why waste time doing something that's not in resonance with you anymore?
Well, we all know, and when you're not in grace and ease, it's a challenge. It's a hard. It's you got snow up to your eyeballs, and you're pushing through, and it's awkward. Maybe not snow in Moira's era because she's still in spring.
We're in summer.
How are you? You're in summer.
We're in summer now. Yeah, you're heading into winter now.
Frickin' winter. Yeah. Good. I hope you are. Summer's come for us. But I think one of the things, when you do feel that, but the other tip I'm going to say is support. And when I say support, I'm not talking about family and friend support. I'm talking about real hardcore support.
Yeah.
And that real hardcore support is a professional. And I'm going to say Moira and I are professionals. Every time I say that, I get the giggle.
That's how professional we are.
Yeah, that's how professional. I'm a professional. I can't even say it. Okay. So Moira is exceptionally great at what she does in helping people move through that transition. I am the same, but we both have different methodologies that we use.
Yeah.
That would be the simplest way.
Yes, it's the simplest way. We have different methodologies, but we also have a similar
philosophy.
I was going to say manifesto, but philosophy. Yeah, let's go with that one.
Yeah. And we both have certainty that we can transition you through with that dissolving. We can absolutely, Moira can back herself 100%. Absolutely. I can back myself, and I would back Moira. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing a podcast with you, truthfully, Moira.
Back at you. Back at you. No, yeah, exactly.
But the support is really important. And when I say get a professional, I'm not, and the reason I say not family or friends is because they've got their own stuff. And I know a while ago, everything's back then, I remember 5 or so years ago, I was having trouble with my accountant. And I said to Mum about, I've got this problem with my accountant. Oh my goodness. My mum then became so incredibly invested in my finances, in my accountant. 3 months later, she sent me a message. Now, I know the tax department are asking for this. Have you done yours? And I was like, what the tax department? Like, what? I've got,
no, just be my mum, please. Please just go back to being my mum.
Yes. And she became so invested in everything that it came to a point that I wanted to avoid my mum purely because I didn't want to address my stuff with her. I had a new accountant and I was working through that, but she became so invested. So it really put a strain on my friendship, my connection with my mum, because she's like, have you done this? And she was getting frustrated with me because I wouldn't answer her calls, or I'd reply to 20,000 other things in a text message, but I'd just ignore that one about the tax department, and it just put a strain. So be aware, because people will have, and I'm going to say, people will have judgment on you. I mean, judgment on me, that's totally okay, but people will have judgment on you if they give you advice and you don't take it. And when they see you, they want to talk to you about it, and there's a time and a place to talk about certain things. So just be aware of your support network. I love that you people can talk to their intimate partner about certain things, and family, and so-and-so's friend will help you with that, but just be aware of that support.
It's about agenda, right? It's about the agenda of the person, right? So a coach or a professional, we all park our agendas.
Yeah, and we're confidential.
100%. 100%. That, to me, that even goes without saying.
When you were saying that, I'm like, and we're confidential. Not that I don't know what members of my family know about my accounting issues.
But no, because it reminds me of one of my mentors told us that he would never do healing work on any of his family members because he knew he had an agenda.
Oh, wow.
His agenda was he didn't want them to suffer with something. Like if his wife had a headache, I mean, obviously there's times where you're going to just step in and do something. But his point being is that as healers or as mentors, we can't show up and say, we're going to fix this, because really the fixer or the healer is the person themselves. So we are catalysts, we're conduits, we're space holders, we're mirrors, reflectors. We've done a lot of training to be able to do this and help do that. But I can't have an agenda of I'm going to fix you in this amount of time, because then that's not allowing me to be 100% present to whatever it is you need. Right?
I have an agenda whenever I get on these podcasts that Moira's going to fix any problem I've got that's going on in the background that I haven't done. I'm like, Tuesday morning.
Moira's going to fix it.
Moira gets to fix me. Yay. She's going to solve my problem with grace and ease. And usually it's just her voice. But you're right. It is the agenda. And when you're saying that, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. And as coaches, coaches, facilitators, mentors, teachers, guidance leaders, we can't have that agenda. We definitely don't think that we don't have any agenda. We definitely have an agenda, but it's not a strong agenda, because we know how to park that and go, okay, our agenda is to listen to the client. What is the best interest
to show up and be our best service
and hold that energy. And agenda is a big one.
Like, because in your example, it's a great example that you gave about your mum with the accountant. I mean, really, your mum wants the best for you, but having her involved in your business part, that's not really supportive.
I was like, maybe I'll just let her have my accounting package and she can deal with the accountant. And then I went, no way. You go, Deborah, did you know you pay this much power? Did you know you're doing this much petrol? Deborah, did you? And we're like, oh my God. And I was like, one stage I nearly did that. I thought, that'd be great. She'd be so invested into it. And then I'm like, no.
Yeah.
What are you spending your money on? What's going on? I need to talk to them. Oh my God, my age.
You feel like you were a teenager again.
Yeah, yay. She couldn't control me then. She can't control me now.
Yeah.
But when we think about these dissolving problems, it can be done with grace and ease. It doesn't have to be awkward. And I think,
exactly.
and I'm going to say cut yourself some slack, because we have talked about being there before, but cut yourself some slack. If you have a wobble or if you have a glitch, go back to that, respect it, and, gratitude and appreciation. Just remembering those things, just, my cousin, calm your farmer, just, okay.
Yeah. Come back to the appreciation, acknowledging it, being that all is well. It is all is well, that we can come back into grace and ease, right?
It is. I've got notes here that I'm going to share of our tips, unless Moira did them.
Well, I let's make this a little bounce back and forth, because I did make a few notes, and I'll kick us off by saying that this idea of dissolving problems is that accessing the feminine aspect of you, the receptive. So that's tip number one, is how can you access the part of you that surrenders, that gives up, that allows things to happen.
I love with that one. I love that she says, I didn't even write that one down. And when you started talking, I went, oh, that's a beautiful one. See, there's a difference between Moira and I. Right then, And so my tip was the problem is take ownership, because you co-created it, and remembering that you have been there before.
Yes, yeah, I had made that one. And I love your one about reframing problem by saying it's a wobble or a glitch, or I suggested that maybe it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
I
put that one down too. Yeah. and it is, because the moment you reframe it, and so then that moved into our the checklist that Moira's got is about what does a yes feel like within your body. And she does have that download of your body as a pendulum that I know I really liked, and my team liked it. So that's it. Once we rename that problem as a glitch, wobble, opportunity, or tell us, people, what would you rename it?
I'd love to hear what other ideas.
Yeah, definitely, that would be super awesome. And then what does that yes feel like in your body?
The other tip was stop, pause, and reflect. I thought that was really stop, pause, and reflect.
I love that. Yeah, stop, pause, reflect. Yeah, that's where you come in. And I've got the next one I've got is respect. Yes, respect.
I've got that one too. Respect it, and then closely followed by having appreciation and gratitude.
Yeah. That's mine too. I love that we've actually captured all our things. This is the first time we've ever done this. Can you tell I'm a little bit excited? You tell I've dissolved the problems with grace and ease. Got Moira with a pen in her hand. Respect.
That was fun. Yeah.
Gratitude and appreciation. Then my next one I've got is pivot.
Oh yes, got to bring that one in. Pivot
left or right, and then I've got guilt-free.
Yeah, and you're the boss of you. It's guilt-free because you're the boss of you, and you can always change your mind. If you say, yes, I'm going to go and do this, and then it doesn't quite vibe anymore, it's totally okay to say, hey, this doesn't vibe with me now. I'm going to go over this way, right?
Because if people, yes, and I think the thing is, if people get so worried, and if you were to dump me as a coach or whatever, or if people are getting so worried about that stuff, they're not your people.
No,
they aren't flying in grace and ease.
No, they aren't.
They're on that hamster wheel, so they're definitely not people that would be wise to vibe around.
Yeah, totally.
That would be the nicest way of putting it.
Yep. That's with grace and ease there.
Yeah, that's one. And I've got one last tip here. Moira, do you have any tip before?
No, I think we covered all the ones that I'd scribbled down.
Well, I've got the last one, and that is support.
Oh, right. I didn't note that one down, but that was a really important one. Professional support, because we're so professional.
Professional. Even just that, might have a trigger word on that, professional.
Maybe we need to dig into that one a bit more.
Yeah. Confidential.
Mm-hmm.
A professional person. Well, I'd like to think they're confidential. I know I'm confidential and Moira's confidential. We're going to talk about you behind the scenes. No, we're not.
Never.
No. I don't have time. If I talk about all my confidential stuff in my head, I think people would just run from me. They go, whoa, you hold all that in your head? Yeah. Like, do you really want it all? And remembering that a professional, Deborah or Moira, is agenda-free.
That's right. It's removed enough to get you having the unconditional acceptance and looking at something from a broader perspective to help you. It's about holding space and helping you empower yourself. That's basically in a nutshell what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
It's inspiring that wisdom within you to bubble up and have you trust it.
Yeah. And I love the way you went holding space too, because family members can hold a different level of space, and partners and work colleagues can hold a different level of space than, and I'm actually going to take away than a professional person. I'm going to just say Moira and Debz. That can hold that space. And you're right, we can find that inspiration within you. Definitely. And it is done. Okay, there's a few, I'm going to say it's done with grace and ease. There is a little bit of in certain things, but it's definitely got that grace and ease flow, because we get a result. We definitely get a result.
Definitely.
So they are the tips that I've got, and they're the tips that
we co-created. We co-created the tips today. We always do.
I had to giggle because I just remembered one. I remember at the very start you said, "Oh, this is what we're going to talk about." And I went, "Oh, I've got a tip," and you didn't say anything. And I went, "I'm going to write that down because I'm going to forget that." And literally, I just look at my piece of paper there. So I'm going to give another tip, and that is
this is a bonus tip.
Yeah, this is a bonus tip. Is delegate.
Yes, you did say that one.
I did.
Yes, you did. Yes,
and
delegate as much as you can.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Delegate as much as you can that is uninspiring.
Yes.
But you must delegate to someone who is inspired about doing the task.
Truly.
Don't give it to someone else who's more moodier than you of doing the task. Give it to somebody who's more inspired about doing the task, because that has just freed up your mind, your space, your energy, your day, your night, your head capacity.
Yep.
When you delegate that stuff, because you trust that person, they're going to do it to their level, then you delegate it, and that just frees so much up. I'm a delegator from way back.
I've got better as I've got older at delegating.
Yeah, you get to a point you just go, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, no, that doesn't light me up.
No, it's funny. Yeah, and that's part of that say no more often, I say. And people just go, God, you're forever delegating stuff, or you're forever palming that off. And I'm like, yeah. But when people say that to me, I'm left with, I'm like more perplexed, like yeah.
Doesn't everybody do that?
Yeah, what? They're like, no. And I'm like, oh, more for you. Okay. So they are I don't even know how many we had. There's probably 10 tips there, I suspect.
I would think so, yeah. There's a lot.
From what we got. So we would love to know what tips you really resonated with. So yeah, if you liked our podcast today, if you loved our podcast, then let us know what you loved about a tip that you do anyway, and what a new one.
Yeah, what you're going to implement. What you're going to implement from this. Yeah. And what was your number to begin with, and what was your number as we're starting to wrap up?
Oh, shoot, yes. Now, what is that? Where is that number? Definitely would like to know that. So I was a 2.5. Moira was a 1.5. And what were you? What were you at halftime? And what are you now, people? So Moira, I don't even know what I am. What are you now?
I'm a 0. I am a 0. I like this one. I like doing the sharing the tips. the takeaways. That was fun.
I love that you started with feminine, because I went, and I remember when you first said it, I went, oh, that's beautiful. I didn't write it down. Beautiful enough not to write down, though. I love that you started with that. So you're a 0. I would say, I'm going to say I'm a 0.5, just because I do have something in my throat still, but it really feels like nothing.
It's a lot better than when we started.
Oh, well, I'm not crying anymore.
No.
That's for sure. So I'm just going to say a 0.5. So today's podcast was to dissolve problems with grace and ease. I trust everybody got more than one tip and understood it and related to it. So if you loved today's podcast, please share it. Please share it, because we love talking, clearly.
Obviously.
And we love sharing tips. So if you liked it, share it.
Definitely.
And
Share
comment.
it wide and far.
Yeah, that would be amazing. So this is Deborah signing off from Deliciously Motivated Mindset in New Zealand. And this is Moira signing off from Deliciously Motivated Mindset in
Canada. Over in Newfoundland, here in Canada.
Yeah, and I'm in Hamilton, New Zealand. We're just out. So fabulous. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Moira. Thank you, Internet. Dissolve problems with grace and ease. Signing off.
I love it. Thanks, dear Deb. This has been awesome. Thanks, listeners. Talk to you next time.
Bye.